Have you ever wanted to start a vegetable garden but felt overwhelmed by all the conflicting advice out there? Maybe you tried once and things did not go so well, or maybe you have been putting it off because you are not sure which vegetables are actually worth your time. I completely understand that frustration, and after growing food for over 2 decades, I can tell you that picking the right crops makes all the difference. Today, I am sharing 10 vegetables you should always grow, even if you have never planted a single seed in your life. Stick around for number 8 because it is one of the most underrated vegetables for beginners, and I have got a bonus tip at the end that is going to set your entire garden up for success. First up on our list is tomatoes, and I know what you might be thinking. Tomatoes, are those not kind of tricky? Here's the truth. Tomatoes are one of the most rewarding vegetables a beginner can grow, and they are far more forgiving than people give them credit for. The key is picking the right variety, and for beginners, I always recommend starting with cherry tomatoes. Varieties like Sun Gold, Sweet Million, or Super Sweet 100 are incredibly productive and naturally more resistant to common problems than big slicing tomatoes. They just want to grow and produce for you. Plant them in a spot that gets at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight a day, give them a sturdy cage or stake for support, and water consistently at the base of the plant. Avoid getting the leaves wet, because that is how fungal problems start. Tomatoes thrive in USDA zones 3 through 11 during the warm season, and they need nighttime temperatures consistently above 50 degrees Fahrenheit before you transplant them outside. Once they start producing, you will be picking handfuls of sweet, sun-warmed cherry tomatoes every single day. There is nothing at the grocery store that comes even close to the flavor of a tomato picked fresh from your own garden. That first bite is the moment you become a gardener for life. Trust me on that one. The second vegetable I want you to grow is zucchini. And honestly, the biggest challenge with zucchini is not getting it to grow. It is keeping up with how much it produces. Zucchini is famously prolific. 1 or 2 plants can feed an entire family all summer long, and then some. That is why it is perfect for beginners. It gives you confidence because you see results fast, and lots of them. Plant zucchini seeds directly in the garden after your last frost date, about 1 inch deep in rich, well-draining soil. Give each plant about 3 to 4 feet of space because the leaves get big and lush. Zucchini loves full sun and consistent moisture, and it grows well in USDA zones 3 through 10. You will see your first harvest in about 45 to 55 days from planting, which is incredibly fast. The best tip I can give you is to harvest when the fruits are about 6 to 8 inches long. Do not let them turn into those baseball bat-sized monsters because the flavor and texture are so much better when they are young and tender. Black Beauty and Costata, Romanesco are excellent varieties for beginners. Grilled zucchini, zucchini bread, stir-fried zucchini. The possibilities are endless, and you will have more than enough to share with neighbors. Number 3 is green beans, and this is a vegetable that I think every single beginner should plant because it teaches you so much about gardening while being almost impossible to mess up. Green beans are fast, productive, and incredibly satisfying to harvest. You have 2 main types to choose from. Bush beans grow in compact little plants about 2 feet tall and do not need any support. Pole beans climb and need a trellis or stake, but they produce over a longer season. For beginners, I usually recommend starting with bush beans because they are simpler. Provider and Contender are fantastic bush bean varieties that are reliable and productive. Plant seeds directly in the garden after your last frost, about 1 inch deep and 3 inches apart, in full sun. Green beans fix nitrogen from the air into the soil, which means they actually improve your garden dirt while they grow. How cool is that? They produce in USDA zones 3 through 10, and you will be harvesting in about 50 to 60 days. Pick the pods when they are firm and snap cleanly. The more you pick, the more the plant produces, so do not be shy about harvesting every couple of days. Now, what I have been sharing with you today are some of my top picks for beginner gardeners, but they are really just a taste of what is possible. I put together a guide called the 30-Day Kitchen Scrap Garden Protocol. It takes everything I know about growing food from kitchen scraps and organizes it into a day-by-day plan that anyone can follow. It covers which scraps actually regrow successfully and which ones people waste their time on. It walks you through the setup so you get it right from day one. And it gives you a complete 30-day calendar, so there is no guesswork involved. Click the link in the description right below this video. Just scroll down a little and you will see it. Or if you are watching on a television or a computer screen, take out your phone, open up your camera like you are going to take a picture, and hold it up to the QR code on screen right now. A little link will pop up at the top of your phone screen. Just tap that, and it will take you right to the guide. No typing, no searching. Either way works. I honestly think it is the best thing you can do for your garden this season. Either way gets you to the guide. All right, let us keep going, because we have got 7 more amazing vegetables to cover. The 4th vegetable you should always grow is lettuce, and here is why I love this one so much for beginners. Lettuce is fast. It is, once you taste it, you will never go back. Coming in at number 5, we have got radishes, and if you want the fastest results in gardening, this is your vegetable. Radishes are ready to harvest in as little as 25 to 30 days from planting. That is less than a month from seed to plate. For a beginner who needs to see results quickly to stay motivated, radishes are pure gold. Cherry Belle and French Breakfast are 2 classic varieties that are absolutely foolproof. Plant seeds directly in the ground or in a container about ½ inch deep and 1 inch apart. Radishes like cool weather and do well in spring and fall. They grow. If you leave them too long, they get woody and hot. Radishes are wonderful in salads, on tacos, roasted with a drizzle of olive oil, or just eaten fresh with a little salt. They are also a fantastic companion plant for slower growing crops because they mark your rows and break up the soil. The 6th vegetable on our list is cucumbers. And you are going to love growing these because they are productive, they are refreshing, and they are one of the most satisfying things to harvest from the garden. Cucumbers come in 2 main types, vining and bush. For beginners, bush varieties like Space Master or Bush Champion are great because they stay compact and do not need a trellis. But if you have a fence or a tomato cage, vining cucumbers like Marketmore 76 will climb right up and give you an even bigger harvest. Plant cucumber seeds directly in the garden after all danger of frost is past. They need warm soil, at least 60 degrees Fahrenheit, full sun, and consistent moisture. Cucumbers grow well in USDA zones 3 through 11 and produce fruit in about 50 to 60 days. The key with cucumbers is to never let them dry out. Inconsistent watering leads to bitter tasting fruit, and nobody wants that. Mulch around the base of the plants to keep the soil moist and cool. Harvest when the cukes are 6 to 8 inches long for slicing varieties, or 2 to 4 inches for pickling types. There is nothing quite like pulling a cool, crisp cucumber off the vine on a hot summer day. It is what gardening is all about. Number 7 is bell peppers, and I want to encourage every beginner to give these a try because they are easier than you think. For them to ripen to red, yellow, or orange for sweeter flavor. Each plant can give you a surprising number of peppers throughout the season. Fresh bell peppers are sweeter, crunchier, and more flavorful than anything you will find in the store, and they are fantastic raw, roasted, stuffed, or in stir-fries. The 8th vegetable on our list is Swiss chard, and this is the one I mentioned earlier that is seriously underrated for beginners. Swiss chard is one of the most beautiful and easiest to grow vegetables you can put in your garden, and it absolutely deserves a spot in every beginner's plot. The rainbow variety, sometimes called bright lights, produces stunning stems in shades of red, orange, yellow, pink, and white. It looks more like an ornamental plant than a vegetable. But here's the real reason I love Swiss chard for beginners. It is incredibly heat tolerant. While lettuce and spinach bolt and turn bitter in the summer heat, Swiss chard just keeps going, producing fresh, nutritious leaves all season long from spring through fall. Plant seeds directly in the garden about half an inch deep and 4 to 6 inches apart. Swiss chard grows in USDA zones 3 through 10 and handles both cool and warm temperatures. It prefers full sun, but tolerates partial shade. You can start harvesting outer leaves in about 50 to 60 days and keep picking for months. The leaves are wonderful sautéed with garlic, added to soups, used in frittatas, or even eaten raw in salads when young. Swiss chard is packed with vitamins A, C, and K, and it keeps producing well after most other greens have given up for the summer. Number 9 on our list is sugar snap peas, and these are an absolute joy to grow. There is something magical about popping a fresh sugar snap pea straight off the vine and eating it right there in the garden. Kids and grandkids love them too, which makes this a wonderful family gardening project. Sugar snap peas are a cool season crop, so plant them in early spring as soon as the soil can be worked, even if there is still a chance of light frost. They can handle it. Sugar snap and super. Sugar snap are the classic varieties, and both are excellent. Plant seeds about 1 inch deep and 2 inches apart along a short trellis, fence, or even a tomato cage. The vines will climb and cling on their own. Peas prefer full sun to partial shade and grow in USDA zones 3 through 10 during the cooler months. You'll be harvesting in about 60 to 70 days. Pick the pods when they are plump and the peas inside are just starting to fill out. The more you harvest, the more the plant produces. Sugar snap peas are wonderful raw for snacking, in salads, in stir-fries, or just eaten by the handful straight from the garden. They also fix nitrogen in the soil, just like green beans, so they improve your garden while feeding you. The 10th and final vegetable that every beginner should always grow is carrots. I put carrots last, not because they are the least important, but because they teach you patience, and patience is one of the most valuable skills a new gardener can develop. Carrots take longer than radishes or lettuce, usually about 70 to 80 days to reach full size, but the reward is absolutely worth the wait. The trick with carrots is soil preparation. They need loose, rock-free soil so the roots can grow straight and deep. If you have heavy clay soil, grow them in a raised bed or container filled with a loose potting mix and sand blend. Danvers and Nantes varieties are great for beginners because they are shorter and more tolerant of less than perfect soil. Plant seeds directly in the garden about 1/4 inch deep and 1 inch apart. Keep the soil consistently moist during germination, which can take 1 to 3 weeks, so be patient. Once they sprout, thin them to about 2 inches apart. Carrots grow in USDA zones 3 through 10 and prefer full sun with cool to moderate temperatures. The magic moment is pulling that first carrot from the ground and seeing the bright orange root you grew from a tiny seed. Fresh, homegrown carrots are sweeter and more flavorful than store-bought by a mile. Roast them, eat them raw, add them to soups, or just enjoy that incredible crunch straight from the garden. All right, now here's a bonus tip that is going to change the game for you, especially as a beginner. One of the biggest mistakes new gardeners make is starting with too much space. They get excited, till up a huge area, and then get completely overwhelmed trying to keep up with it. Here's what I want you to do instead. Start with a 4-foot by 4-foot raised bed, or even just 4 or 5 large containers. That is it. That small space is enough to grow tomatoes, lettuce, herbs, and a couple of other crops from this list, and it is completely manageable. You can water it in 5 minutes, weed it in 5 minutes, and check on your plants every day without it feeling like a chore. Success in a small space builds confidence, and confidence is what turns a beginner into a lifelong gardener. I've seen so many people burn out because they went too big too fast. Start small, grow what you love to eat, and expand next season when you are ready. That is the real secret to gardening success. Thanks for sticking around to the end. If you want the complete system for starting your first vegetable garden the right way, I would encourage you to check out the guide I put together. It is called the 30-Day Kitchen Scrap Garden Protocol. It is everything I have figured out about kitchen scrap gardening, laid out in a day-by-day plan you can start right away. It covers which scraps are genuinely worth regrowing and which ones to skip. It gives you the complete setup method, so nothing is left to chance. And it includes the full 30-day schedule, so you always know exactly what comes next. There are 2 easy ways to get it. The first is to click the link in the description right below this video. Just scroll down a little, and you will see it. The second way, if you are watching on a television or a computer screen, is to take out your phone, open up your camera like you are going to take a picture, and hold it up to the QR code you see on screen right now. A little link will pop up at the top of your phone screen. Just tap that, and it will bring you right to the guide. No typing, no searching. Either way works. I think it is the best investment you can make in your garden this year. Thanks for sticking around to the end. Now get out there and grow something amazing.